I wanted to ask you about that because, this week, Anthony Albanese, he even claimed that Israel was making excuses for why aid was unable to be delivered to civilians in Gaza. This is a bit of what he said.
Israel's actions are completely unacceptable. It is outrageous that there be a blockade of food and supplies to people who are in need in Gaza. We've made that very clear by signing up to international statements.
And those comments have received praise from Palestine's representatives here in Australia. Chris, has this reached Israel? What are Israelis telling you about Australia's stance on this issue?
Look, it sure has, Danica. They're appalling statements, and that's misinformation effectively from our Prime Minister. He's not alone. Of course, other world leaders are saying this. The idea that Israel is starving people in Gaza is a lie. It's more of the Hamas propaganda we hear. The problem here is Hamas. All of the international aid, billions of dollars of it that has been sent in, even in the last 19 months since the war began, of course, has been distributed by Hamas. And Hamas has stockpiled it. Hamas has been charging people money for the aid, using the money it gets from its own civilians to, of course, pay its terrorists and buy weaponry. So this has been the problem, and Israel has dealt with this, and Israel is now looking to get aid in through other means, have other organisations distribute it. So it's not aid that is held hostage effectively by Gaza and used to perpetuate the conflict. But this is the sort of demonisation you get of Israel the whole time. You've just got to think about it. People need to think about the facts here. The only reason anybody has any food or has been able to survive in Gaza for the last 19 months is because Israel and the international community have been sending aid in there. That's the simple fact. Now, there's no doubt that in recent weeks, in the last 2 months perhaps, Israel has pulled back on some of the aid shipments to try and draw down the Hamas stockpiles and to try and make sure the aid gets to people for free without going through Hamas. That's what's going on. And of course, aid is flowing into Gaza as we speak. It has been doing so in recent days. But this is the key. The key here is Hamas. The key is not Israel. The key is to make sure the aid goes directly to Palestinian people, not to Hamas, so they can profiteer from this aid that is given by the West, given by Western countries, on the basis that it should go to Palestinian people for free. When it comes to Anthony Albanese, the Israeli people here, and we met with the Assistant Foreign Minister, Shireen, yesterday, they feel betrayed by Australia. The relationship between Israel and Australia goes back right to the foundation of Israel, of course, and even before that. And Australia's always been a strong partner for Israel, but Australia is now jumping on the bandwagon and criticising Israel instead of putting the pressure on Hamas. And Australia's comments have just joined that sort of European UN line of attack. They've even got people in the Australian Parliament now, like Ed Husic, talking about sanctions. The point here is that maximum pressure needs to be placed on Hamas. The war needs to be ended. And Australia needs to be supporting Israel, and they're certainly not doing that. Israelis I've spoken to have said that they feel like Australia has stabbed them in the back and that Australia has now betrayed Israel. And the relationship between Australia and Israel now is at an all-time low. The question is whether under this Albanese Labor government it can be repaired at any stage. But the prospects at this stage are not good at all.
No, it's not good at all, and it's such a shame that the focus is never on Hamas. Never on Hamas. Yep. It's always on Israel, and that is the problem. Chris Kenny, good to catch up with you live from Jerusalem. Thank you so much for joining us on the show this evening. And, of course, Chris Kenny will be back next week, and he'll be sharing all of his experiences and all those conversations he's been having with people on the ground there with you next week. So do make sure that you tune in.